In 2006, researchers at the University of Washington put on rubber caveman masks and started trapping crows. Standard research: tag them, release them, collect data. What they did not expect was a 17-year vendetta. Those crows are still attacking that mask today. Not the original crows. Their children. Their grandchildren. Birds that were not even born when the trapping happened learned to hate that face and passed it down like a family heirloom. The crows organized. The scientists got outsmarted. And that is just the first animal on this list. The study was led by wildlife biologist John Marsleff. His team trapped and banded crows at 5 sites around Seattle while wearing identical rubber masks. Within weeks, every crow on campus knew that face. Not just the ones they trapped, all of them. Crows that had never been touched started dive-bombing anyone wearing that mask. They would swoop within a few feet of your head, screaming. They would follow researchers across campus. They would recruit other crows to join the mob. Marsleff's team also used a neutral mask. Dick Cheney's face. That one got fed treats. Nobody attacked Dick Cheney. The crows could tell the difference between a threat and a friend, remember it for nearly 2 decades, and teach that information to the next generation. Brain scans confirmed it. When crows see a face they recognize, their brains light up the same way human brains do. Same regions, same patterns. They are not just reacting, they are remembering. They are holding a grudge, and they are making sure their kids hold it too. Meanwhile, you forgot your coworker's name 3 days after they introduced themselves. Across the Pacific, a different kind of intelligence was making headlines. In 2016, an octopus named Inky made international news for escaping the National Aquarium of New Zealand. One night, he pushed the lid off his tank. He squeezed through a gap at the top, slithered across the floor, found a drain pipe that led to the ocean, and disappeared. Staff found a wet trail the next morning. That was it. Inky was gone. The aquarium manager described him as curious and a bit wiser than we thought. That's generous. The octopus outsmarted an entire building full of humans whose job was to keep him in a tank. Inky wasn't unique. Octopuses escape from aquariums constantly. They've been caught removing filters, stacking rocks to climb out, and blocking security cameras. One octopus at a different facility figured out that if it waited until night when staff went home, it could crawl into neighboring tanks and eat the fish. Every morning, fish were missing. Nobody could explain it. They installed cameras and caught the octopus red-handed. It had been running this operation for weeks. Researchers have also tested octopuses with sealed jars. Staff put a crab inside, screwed the lid on tight, and dropped it in the tank. The octopus examines the jar, figures out the threading mechanism, and unscrews the lid using coordinated arm movements. No training, no hints. Just problem solving on the first attempt. Octopuses have 500 million neurons. 2/3 of them are in their arms. Each arm can taste, touch, and make decisions independently. 8 smaller brains are attached to one body, all working together, and they only live about 2 years. Imagine what they'd accomplish with more time. Most people wouldn't put pigs in the same category. Farm animals, bacon factories, nothing going on upstairs. That assumption is wrong. Pigs outperform dogs on problem-solving tests. They outperform 3-year-old human children on cognitive tests. They recognize their own names. They have long-term memory. And in 2021, researchers at Purdue University taught 4 of them to play video games. Their names were Hamlet, Omelette, Ebony, and Ivory. The pigs learned to use a joystick with their snouts to move a cursor on a screen. When the cursor hit a target, they got a treat. The pigs figured it out. Not by accident. They understood that moving the joystick moved the cursor. They understood that hitting the target made food appear. Cause and effect. Abstract thinking. From an animal most people consider a walking lunch. The researchers described the moment the pigs got it as shock and awe. One minute they were messing around. The next minute something clicked. They couldn't stop. Some were getting it right 80% of the time, using their faces. on a device designed for human hands. When the treat dispenser broke, the pigs kept playing anyway, not for food, for verbal encouragement from the researchers. A human said good job and the pig kept going. They weren't just smart, they wanted approval. Elephants don't need approval, they need results. In 2011, researchers in Thailand set up an experiment to test whether elephants understood cooperation. They used a table with food on it, positioned too far away to reach. A rope was threaded through the table. If two elephants pulled both ends at the same time, the table would slide close enough to grab the food. If only one pulled, the rope would slip out and nobody got anything. The elephants figured it out almost immediately. When researchers released one elephant before the other, the first elephant would wait. Stand at the rope, not pull. Sometimes for 45 seconds, just watching the path, waiting for its partner to arrive. Chimpanzees struggled with this test. Crows failed it completely. Elephants nailed it. They understood that pulling alone would not work. They understood that they needed another elephant, and they understood that waiting was the smart move. One elephant took it further. Her name was Nua Un. She figured out that if she stepped on the rope and held it in place, her partner would do all the pulling. Same food, half the work. Nobody taught her this. She invented a shortcut and exploited it. Another elephant named Jojo would not even walk to the apparatus unless his partner was released first. He had learned that showing up alone was pointless. Why waste the energy? These elephants were not just cooperating, they were thinking strategically. They were gaming the system. The lead researcher said elephants seem to actually understand how cooperation works, unlike most animals that are just pre-programmed for teamwork. Elephants know what is happening. Some of them are looking for ways to cheat. The last animal on this list has been outsmarting humans for decades, and a study from March 2026 finally proved what homeowners have suspected all along. Raccoons solve puzzles for fun. Researchers at the University of British Columbia gave raccoons a puzzle box with 9 different locks. Latches, sliding doors, knobs, easy ones, hard ones. Inside the box was a single marshmallow. The raccoons solved the puzzles. That wasn't the surprise. The surprise was what happened after. They kept going, even after the marshmallow was gone. The raccoons continued opening locks, sliding panels, pulling latches. Nothing inside, no reward. They did it anyway. Researchers call this information foraging. The raccoons weren't hungry anymore. They were learning, gathering information about how the box worked, storing it for later, building a mental library of solutions, just in case. In another study, a raccoon named Willow Herb took several minutes to figure out a sliding latch. When researchers tested her again a full year later, she opened it on the first try. 12 months. First attempt. She remembered. Some raccoons figured out they didn't need to solve anything. They watched other raccoons do the work, then stole the food once the door was open. One researcher said they observed the emergence of this alternative strategy. Why solve the puzzle yourself when someone else will do it for you? Raccoons are the most successful urban mammal in North America. A study across 20 cities found they had the highest occupancy of any mammal. They're not just opportunistic. They're curious, they're strategic, and they remember what they learn. Every animal on this list is out there right now. The crows are cataloging faces. The octopuses are testing tank lids. The pigs are waiting for someone to hand them a controller. The elephants are figuring out how to make you do the work. And the raccoons are practicing on your trash cans. Scientists designed these tests to measure animal intelligence. The animals treated them like warm-ups.